Facci, the Indiana Pacers take down the Denver Nuggets 125-120 for the first time in 5 years. They haven't beat the Nuggets in Denver specifically since January 19th, 2020, the year of COVID. But welcome to your go-to Pacers podcast, setting the pace. Facci, the pep in this step, it's got to be even greater on a Monday after beating the Denver Nuggets for the first time in 5 years.
If there's one day in the week where you want the pep in the step, it's a Monday morning. This game, I'm going to be honest, I didn't have much faith in the Pacers early on. No Siakam. Okay, we'll see how it goes. Haliburton won't shoot the ball. I'm not feeling great about it. Indiana found a way to come from behind. Alex, that's their 14th win this season when trailing by double digits. How about that?
Hey, there's no quit in this team, and it just goes to tell you can never count out this Pacers team because they are just relentless, and their three-point shooting was pivotal for this game. They made some big shots there down the stretch, but I will say this, that fourth quarter was very rough from both sides of the play offensively from Denver and Indiana. The Pacers were begging the Nuggets to win this game. They went almost like 5 minutes without a made field goal. Obi Toppin had some great looks. The ball went in and out. They ended up subbing Jarus Walker back in into the fourth quarter for Obi Toppin just because of the way he kind of spearheaded that run there in the fourth quarter. But I think, honestly, the Tyrese Haliburton conversation was very loud, especially at halftime. But he ends up having 9 points in the second half, had 13 assists. We've talked about this before. When Haliburton has a rough scoring night and they win, it's not as big of a deal. And I think tonight, it's another case where we have to really just point out what was happening here because it wasn't that Tyrese was not looking to shoot. It's that Denver was sending 2 and 3 defenders at him, making him a facilitator. And kudos to him because he was being unselfish, like Myles said in the postgame interview with JJ, getting guys open looks. I mean, there's a reason why they were still in the game at halftime, only down by 5, because Toppin and Nembhard were really hitting their shots. So I want to give Tyrese his props, even though obviously not a great statistical night from him. I thought he did a good job of, playing the offense the right way to how Denver was defending him.
Yeah, I mean, look, these are lengthy defenders. I mean, Christian Brown, Aaron Gordon at times, Jokic as a help defender. It just felt like it was tough for him to get into any sort of rhythm. He had just one shot attempted by halftime. He even tried to kind of get himself going, kick the leg out. They whistle him for three free throws, and then Denver challenges it, overturns it. I was like, oh man, it's just going to be a tough night for him. But yeah, he got his teammates involved. I thought what was great was at one point, Haliburton had 0 points, 2 assists, 2 turnovers. He finishes the game with 13 assists and 3 turnovers. So that means obviously 11 assists to just 1 turnover for the rest of the game. 7 points in the third quarter. I mean, really, he was there when Indiana needed him to be there in that third quarter. And yeah, like you said, a win helps you forget about a lot of things. But this is a win without Pascal Siakam.
Yeah.
And that's great to be able to get Siakam a little bit of rest. We recently got Matherin some rest, and the team still found ways to win. So this team, they have that it factor right now that you can't count them out at any time, whether it was the recent game against Utah where they're trailing or against Denver. It's like never say never with this Pacers team. And the quest for 50 wins, it's still alive.
It really is, Facci. I mean, this was honestly one of those games where you said it earlier, you weren't expecting a victory probably. Heading into this game, you see Siakam's not playing, and you're probably thinking, how serious is this elbow injury that they just diagnosed him with? And I was kind of wondering because I'm sure you saw the game on Friday when he threw that down that thunder dunk. I was thinking to myself, is that the play where he like hurt his elbow because he threw it down so hard? But I think if they were trying to find a way to get him some rest, this was the perfect game to do it. A one-off in Denver. It's just a weird scheduling thing, but the Pacers, they just stepped up. So many guys had so many big buckets. I'm not sure which player to start with because I think you can make the case for a handful of guys, but where
Good.
do you want to start?
I mean, I think yeah, there was different moments. Like here's what I'd say. All right, how about this? Turner led the Pacers in scoring with 24. There was good, there was bad. I thought that early on in the beginning of this game, tough assignment, like having to draw Jokic. I felt like Jokic was eating early on, but Turner gave him everything he could, everything that he possibly had to be able to do whatever it was, whether it was a timely, turnover at the end, just being right on Jokic when Jokic passed in the backcourt, like that was big. Also, just hitting shots, I think was huge. I mean, he didn't stop shooting. He was 8 of 16. You can make an argument, yeah, 2 rebounds, that's tough, but like 3 blocks, just like Turner gave you what you needed from an offensive standpoint in this game when you're looking for someone to step up. So I thought, hey, the 24 points from Myles Turner, that was big. And guarding Jokic is just such an assignment that there was nobody on this Pacers team that could possibly do it. Someone had to draw it. Turner did what he could on that, and I think slowed him down significantly in the second half compared to early on, especially in the first quarter.
Yeah, I don't know how you felt or not, but it felt like when the Nuggets got the ball back, and I think it was maybe a 2 point Pacers lead before they fouled Aaron Nesmith and Jokic threw the ball away there at the end. Jokic had the ball and he's trying to throw it back to Westbrook, and Christian Brown runs into his arm. We've seen this happen so many times with Jokic against Miles, where the Pacers have like a 2 point lead. And I'm thinking to myself, I even told my wife, I was like, Jokic is going to splash a three here. I have seen Jokic do this so many
Funny.
times at the top of the key game. We have to mention this too. No Jamal Murray tonight for the Nuggets. So the both teams were down one pivotal starter, but Jokic still had an amazing triple double, was
Oh yeah.
unbelievable in this game at 29 first half points, like just unreal stuff. But
21 in the first. I mean,
yeah,
it was like this guy is a magician. The way the plays that he makes. Sometimes you're like, you want to say it's lucky, but like we've said before, there's a reason why this guy wins MVPs left and right. He's like freakishly good in ways that you still want to say, how did he make that? How did he make that pass? Or, oh, come on. But he does it time and time again. And I worried that the guy was on pace for 80 points. Basically, it was 84 points after the first quarter. Knew it wasn't going to get it that high. Still has a really good game, but I felt like Indiana did a much better job, specifically in the second half. Obviously, that's just 12 points in the second half for Jokic.
yeah, I felt the same way. I mean, I just knew the Pacers were going to win the game when he threw that ball backcourt because Christian Brown ran into his arm. It was like, okay, it feels like fate is on the side of the Pacers, and so you got to give them a lot of credit. But going into that fourth quarter, Facci, I think that this is the thing that stood out to me the most. The Pacers go on a 12-3 run, or excuse me, an 18-9 run from the beginning of the quarter to the 6:39 point. They're leading 116-106. Jarus Walker scored 5 points during that stretch. I thought it was a massive turn of
Hmm.
events there when he had that steal, then he splashed a three. Pacers made 6 of 10 field goals and had 6 fast break points. And then the Nuggets countered that with a 12-3 run themselves, where Christian Brown scored 9 points, going 4 of 5 from the field.
He was
And the
impressive
Pacers
tonight. He
shot
was
1 of 8 from the field and 0 of 6 from three during that stretch. So that's where the game really got, right there. It was a little dicey. Pacers had a 1 point lead. It was 119-118, but then Indiana was able to outscore them 6-2 the final 2 minutes and 22 seconds. But I was really, really impressed with Jarus Walker tonight in this game as well. Big opportunity, played some small ball four. I guess if he's a small ball four, he's been playing the three more this year, but he was playing the four without Siakam and backing up Obi Toppin. And I mentioned it earlier, like him going into the game at the end of the fourth, he earned those minutes, and his defense was something I think the Pacers needed because while Obi was giving them offense early on, the offense wasn't clicking there in that fourth quarter when they needed some big buckets from him, and Jarace was just a little bit more impactful defensively. So I was really glad to see Carlisle give Jarace that opportunity there to close this game out.
I thought they kind of like took turns. Obi was big in the first half. He had 19 of his 22 in the first half. He was hitting a lot of shots. It was great. Obviously, just 3 points in the second half. But when Jarris came in, like it was just he didn't waste any time, and I thought it was great. Double digit scoring again, 3 of 3 from three. Like we brought it up a couple times. He is shooting the ball ridiculously well from 3 point land lately, and I feel like yeah, the defense hasn't been good. He has not looked. Like I know we've said that, hey, and we had this conversation with Ted Wu. Almost in year two, it's sort of like his rookie year. He hasn't looked like a rookie in the last couple weeks by
Mhm.
any means. He hasn't looked like a second year guy. He looks like he belongs out there. He's making plays, and he's also like doing it with confidence, like having the ball, doing a shot fake, defenders completely biting, and then he's getting a clean look at a three and hitting it. And it's like I love it. 6 rebounds. I thought that was really good. I mean, it's 6 boards, 21 minutes. I was right. The 6 rebounds tied for the lead for the Pacers. Like this was a night that no one was really, cleaning the glass for Indiana, but it was a collective effort. And I felt like you mentioned earlier, guys just had moments of stepping up. Once again, Aaron Nesmith down the stretch hitting big free throws. It's like that's what he does. And I got to tip my hat a little bit because I didn't even realize when Ted Wu came on and mentioned that he is shooting 50, 40, 90 on
Yeah.
the year. Like Aaron Nesmith is a 50, 40, 90 guy this year. That's crazy. 17 points, 6 boards, 3 steals. I thought he was another pacer that played really well tonight.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that he didn't play enough games this season to
I
qualify for the
know
50,
it
40, 90
is.
club, but I mean, he has been playing phenomenal. And, I bet there were a lot of Nuggets fans watching this game there at the end of the game when the Pacers end up throwing it into Nesmith to get fouled. And I bet a lot of Nuggets fans are thinking, oh, thank God they didn't give it to Tyrese. You know what? They little did they know Aaron Nesmith is Mr. Clutch himself. Ice water in his veins, Facci. The research has been, handed back in, and it's true. He does have ice water in his veins. He does not miss clutch free throws. I mean, nobody I feel more comfortable with at the free throw line with the game on the line than Aaron Nesmith. I know a lot of Matherin fans will push back and say Matherin. I trust Matherin a lot too. I'm just saying, but this season, I think you got to tip your cap to Nesmith in terms of clutch free throw shooting because he just walks up there and he just like focuses in and nothing else bothers him. And so I love that. I thought he was great, like you said in this game. Just did some really good stuff. Had a really nice pull up too that he made too.
Yes, that was
And
great. And that was after a run where Indiana went cold. They were
yes,
shooting a lot of 3 pointers. You mentioned they were like 0 of 6 in that run. And I was like, guys, come on, you're sending for a lot of threes right now. That was a big, needed pull up jumper by Neesmith. Also, on the season, we mentioned he's above 90%. It's like 92%. Haliburton actually missed 2 fourth quarter free throws tonight.
yeah.
Unlike him at all to, keep him from a double double. But you also had a good tweet out just kind of saying if he wants to average 10 assists on the year, it's still very much alive. And that
Well, I mean, he's got to average 20 assists a game to get to
20
there,
assists.
basically. Yeah, because he's at
Oh,
like
never
he's at
mind.
9.2. Yeah, I said he has to have
I read your tweet
107
wrong. Never mind. Yeah.
107 assists over the next five, including tonight. So he did end up getting an extra assist since we've been talking. The stats have been changed from 13 assists to 14. So he
Wow. And
got
still
14
putting up
tonight.
stats. Still putting up stats after the game. It's like that's how good the ball movement's been. They're like just give him another assist. So,
Yeah.
hey, you know what? Cool to see.
Yeah. So he'll need 93 more assists if he does play in the final four games. But if he happens to, get like a big jump here, I don't know. It's going to be tough. But
Not happening. Never
yeah,
mind. Just I'm
you said it's still
backtracking
a
from your tweet.
possibility,
I
Facci.
read it wrong. Look, technically anything's a possibility. That stat ain't happening. But look, hey, nonetheless, yeah, we said earlier. Look, if you're not scoring a lot, what else can you do? And I felt like Haliburton also he had a block late in the fourth quarter,
Yeah.
and he also had a steal where he saved it, where he basically almost like dove into the crowd. Like it was
Mm,
that's clutch defensive plays right there, and you gotta appreciate that. And I think when you're already without Siakam, Ben Shepherd, the bench is going to be a little bit, thinner. I thought McConnell had some moments, especially in that second half. He finishes with 12 points, 6 assists, 6 of 13 from the field. He was getting into paint like he does, and this was just a performance where it felt like every guy had a couple of moments here and
yes.
there that led to Indiana being able to either cut down that lead or push ahead, anything of the sort.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I wanted to get to, which we haven't got to yet, and I think Andrew Nembhard deserves a lot of credit for what he did in this game. He did
Hmm.
go 0 of 5 from three, which it's just been one of those things where he's had good looks, he's just not been hitting them. But he went 8 of 9
Yeah.
inside the arc, and he was really putting pressure on the rim. And that behind the back pass to Neesmith to
Oh,
start the game, oh my God, like that was just incredible. He had another good pass later in the game too, but like that was just phenomenal. Myles kicks it to Nembhard. Nembhard didn't even really touch it. He just, as soon as he caught it, flipped it out to Neesmith for a corner three. I mean, beautiful pass. But the way that he was getting into the paint, and I think you probably saw this on Twitter, he initiates contact with Jokic
I
and
love it.
pushes Jokic off balance and then makes the shot. So he just has this weird control thing where he can really get that shoulder into guys and get them off balance, and then he can make those shots. And I like when he does that more than when he tries to drive and pump fake for 4 or 5 times and
Yeah,
then
agreed.
settles for a bad shot or then gets stuck and has to throw it out. So I really just think that his playmaking, because he hit the big shot there in the end of the fourth
Mhm.
to give the Pacers that little bit of a cushion. I just feel like that was a big shot from him. So a lot of good stuff. I think the point you brought up though right there was so many guys had impactful moments throughout the entirety of this game, and even Thomas Bryant, someone that really struggled in the first half. I thought he had a nice stretch there in the third quarter. especially going up against DeAndre Jordan when he was involved in those minutes. I thought he was better in the second half, but everybody to me just kind of stepped up, and even a guy like Johnny Furphy, 4 rebounds in 7 minutes of play, thought that was special. And then Matherin, while he wasn't very good offensively tonight, the way that he got 5 boards and had 4 assists, he impacted the game without being a scorer.
Yeah, everybody contributed. I knew when I saw Furphy get those early minutes, I was like, hey, all right. And, my wife, she's got a soft spot for Johnny Furphy. She was asking me recently, she's like, how come he doesn't play more? I was like, babe, come on, enough. We're trying to get everybody minutes over here. It's tough right now. There's guys ahead of him that people are arguing need more minutes than Johnny Furphy, but he showed that in his limited time, like that man can rebound. And it was cool to see 2 offensive rebounds tonight that tied for the lead on the Pacers. He only played 7 minutes. So, good to see, but yeah, Matherin, while it was not his best shooting night, to put it lightly, I feel like good to contribute on the glass, assists, always great stuff. I think that from top to bottom, this was like that dig deep type of win, and I felt like at halftime when Indiana trailed by 5, I felt like that was a gift. So I was like, so you're telling me Haliburton scoreless when we're only down 5? To me, that feels like he could play better. This team could play better. And if we could overcome Jokic scoring 21 in the first, anything can happen in the second half. And I felt like that third quarter was just to see them finally take the lead. I was like, it was on an OB3 in the corner. Then they took the lead for the first time, like 79-78. I
Mm.
was like, you know what? I'm starting to feel good about this one. And this was one that Indiana never really fumbled at all. They were always never down by more than like 2 or 3 points, really, in the second half once they took that lead. And man, this is just one of those wins that I feel like could kind of carry over to just be like, all right, next, you play Washington, you can get another win there. And, Indiana now, I believe coming into this game, only needed to win one game, I believe, to guarantee that they were a top 5 seed,
Yes,
like a
top
four
five.
or five, and they did it. They got that win. Feels great. And man, this was just one that, like we said, we've had our struggles against Denver for quite some time.
Yeah, for sure. And I will say this, just so everybody knows, the Bucks did end up pulling out the victory over the Pelicans 111-107 tonight in New Orleans without Giannis Antetokounmpo. So I knew they were going to sit him, and Brooke Lopez played in this game. Everybody else really played in this game. Gary Trent Jr. was really good in this game. Kevin Porter Jr. was good in this game. But the Pelicans are trying to lose. Bruce
Yeah.
Brown is like leading the team in minutes. Him and another Reeves, Antonio Reeves, excuse me. You got to look up these guys' names just to know who's playing. But Pelicans aren't trying to win. But this Pacers game, Facci, I mean, this might be one of the most enjoyable wins of the season. It
It
wasn't
was
on the level
fun.
of the Minnesota game winner,
Yeah.
obviously,
No, this was
because you still had
good.
starters playing and things like that. But the fact that like Denver is one of these teams that is so good, the Pacers technically have a better record than the Denver Nuggets right now.
It's pretty
Pacers
wild.
are 47-31, Nuggets are 47-32. They have not been playing great basketball. And I don't know if you heard Chris Denari say this in the fourth quarter at the end of the game, but he goes, and here comes some subs for the Denver Nuggets. They're putting in, I think, Peyton Watson and Russell Westbrook for defense. I'm thinking, Russell Westbrook for defense. The Pacers were cooking him the
Yeah.
entire beginning of the fourth quarter. So I just think that the way the Nuggets have kind of managed their roster, it's almost like a look into the future of how the Pacers could become really expensive and how hard it is to continue to like build when you're trying not to pay the tax and trying to avoid different thresholds, because look at how this Nuggets team has just let so many key players walk because they can't afford to keep them. And I hope the Pacers don't get themselves in that same boat, because we saw tonight how depth won them this game.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, Christian Brown played really well. He's a key piece for them that they have to pay. The second they pay him, all right, well, who else has got to go? I know that they had like re-upped Aaron Gordon a little while ago, maybe like a year or two ago. MPJ has just never been able to live up to that contract, and I just feel like they are very thin on that bench tonight. Like Peyton Watson,
That's why they
DeAndre
lost the
Jordan.
game.
Yeah, Julian Strawther. I mean, those guys contributed close to nothing. Obviously, Russell Westbrook, might have played a bunch, but he was minus 14, which was, awful.
Yeah.
So I think for the Pacers, yeah, that has been their strength. But yeah, it worries me down the line because everybody got paid for the Pacers, and that's a conversation we will have to continue to have over the next, few years when that becomes a bigger problem. But for tonight, this is the classic. Like, okay, hey, your all stars out. All right, find a way. Ben Shepherd, hey, another guy who plays off the bench. He's out. All right, who's going to step up? And guys did. And that's great. Obi Toppin, whether he had a quiet second half or not, that man kept us alive in the first half. He's played really well lately. So I just feel like this is a quality win. Now Indiana improves to 20-20 on the road. Hey, how about that? Already a really good home record. I believe second best in the East. And now you're a 500 team on the road. That makes me feel a little bit better. And I just feel like if you're able to get Siakam rest, like you win this game, rest Siakam against the Wizards. Rest him. Let's go into the playoffs being as close to 100% as you possibly could. Could you make an argument maybe Matherin's not 100%? You probably could as well. I feel confident you'll beat Washington, but at the same point, I think Siakam's a guy that you can keep out for a little bit longer.
Yeah, for sure, Facci. I mean, this is a quality win from the Pacers. I think you have to be really excited about the potential of this team and how they're just kind of peaking at the right moment. I think that they just, I mean, Miles said it after the game with JJ, like they treated this game like a playoff game to try to
Right.
get themselves prepared. And I think when we see the games that they've had, like they just beat the Utah Jazz by 28 points on Friday, and they looked awful in that first half. I mean, the fact
Yep.
that they were trailing at halftime and really it was only a 5 point game after the third, Rick Carlisle was obviously not happy in the post-game press conference. Like he didn't really have much to say. He was very short, and he told everybody he was going to be short because, look, when you play around with bad teams and let them hang around that long, it kind of shows your immaturity. But then on the other side, the flip side of things, you see wins like this tonight, it makes you realize, okay, the Pacers have another level they can go to,
Yep.
and they did that tonight. They found ways to win this game, whether it was key defensive rotations to get big stops there at the end against Denver to make them have some tough looks, or hitting clutch free throws or hitting big shots when they needed to. They have what it takes. However, there's just too many times where we see them kind of slip up a little bit or take their foot off the gas and let these no-name teams kind of hang around with them for too long. So I think that this win right here, I think it was a step in the right direction. And what was the Pacers record last year? Was it 47 and 35 at the end of the season?
Might have been. I'll pull it up right now.
I
Let's see
think it
what we
was. So
got.
they've already got that. They've already,
It was
yeah.
47 and 35. Yep. So 47 wins. That's what we had. Great chance at beating it. Indiana would have to go ice cold. But with the remaining games against Washington, Cleveland, Orlando, and Cleveland, you feel like you're winning at least two of those, but at minimum one. Minimum. You're going to beat last year's record. And after that 10 and 15 start, we didn't know if that was going to happen. So the quest for 50 wins, like I said, very much still alive. Indiana would have to go 3-1, and that's not impossible by any means at all. Cleveland could very well rest some players for that last game of the season.
What's really interesting is Cleveland just needs one win to clinch home court advantage in the Eastern Conference. They couldn't get it done tonight against the Sacramento Kings. They
Okay.
lost 120 to 113. So they lose that game. They barely beat the Spurs on Friday by just 1 point. So they're not playing great basketball right now. They've got the Bulls on Tuesday. Then it's that Pacers game. Then they play the Knicks and they play the Pacers again. So we'll see exactly what's going to happen because I'm sure Boston would love to get up to the number one seed. So if Boston wins out, they could still get it. But I think the Cavs can take care of business against a team like Chicago, wrap up home court advantage in the Eastern Conference, and then probably not get too worried about trying to surpass OKC, who has a 2 game lead on them. And I believe they have the tiebreaker over them, if I recall right, unless for some reason the Cavs end up beating the Thunder. But I thought the Thunder
I
beat the
think the
Cavs
Thunder
this
got it.
year.
I just remember the Thunder at one of those games just like destroying Cleveland, like pretty viciously. Thunder have dropped a couple games recently.
Yeah, they
They've
lost to the
lost to the
Rockets on
Lakers.
Friday.
Yep, and the Lakers recently. So we'll see. But I think the last game of the regular season, to me, that feels like if you have everything wrapped up and you're Cleveland and you have not won anything, ever since LeBron was there, I feel like you take advantage of that and rest some of those starters. So we'll see. I'm not gonna hold my breath for it. Whatever they do, they do. But I think that Indiana is still like we should be really proud of how this team's playing, and I think they've gone through a lot of growing pains. Like we mentioned, that buzzer beater loss to the Lakers. Like there could have been a scenario where Indiana goes in a completely other direction. They've since won 5 of 6 since that happened. The only loss is against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I just love what I'm seeing right now. No, we're not getting probably talked about the way that we deserve to. But at the same point, that's when Indiana thrives. You don't want anything to go to their head because then they start to get a little too comfortable. Let's continue to be the team that is being the hunter instead of like the hunted. And I feel like right now it's like let's go after these teams, and I think that that's when you get to see the best version of the Indiana Pacers.
How many wins in a row is this now for the Pacers?
This is four straight wins right now. They're
Okay,
hot.
if you go back to 2020, Facci, that was a 5 game winning streak for the Pacers when they beat the Nuggets 115-107. Domantas Sabonis had 22 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists. Doug McDermott had 24 points on 9 of 10 shooting. Malcolm Brogdon had 22 points and 8 rebounds. TJ Warren had 22 points on 7 of 13 shooting. And Justin Holiday had 14 points on 4 of 8 shooting. I only know that because I posted a video, my old videos I used to post with the
Yep,
uh,
remember
with the
those.
team wins, right? Remember those? People kind of got
Mhm.
annoyed with them after a while because it was the same song for about 5 years. But I've cut back on those. I enjoyed those videos though, and the Pacers, they won that game and it was awesome. So crazy to think about how much has changed in those 5 years for this team. But regardless, awesome win tonight, and like you said, the pep in the step on a Monday morning, Facci.
That's when you need it.
That's when
That's
you
when
need
you
it the
really do.
most. I mean, I was dragging in here for this podcast. I was
You
telling you, like,
were.
I'm really tired, man. You said, "Oh, come on, we can do this," and I said,
And
"I'll be ready
usually,
to go." But
usually I'm the guy who's, maybe complaining a little bit, being like, I don't know, man, I'm pretty tired. I got work in the morning. That wind gave me an extra wind. It gave me an extra little bit of life to be able to keep, carrying on at 11 p.m. on a Sunday night right now. And that's what this team does. When they play good basketball, you get fired up. You want to see more. And when
yeah,
they lose some of those games, we overreact. That's what we do as a fan base. People were slandering Tyrese on social media. I saw people starting to be like, "Oh, there's no way this guy could be an All NBA team or anything." Hey, the man
uh,
won 13 assists. I mean, it's nothing to play with. 14. I'm sorry, I forgot that they upped him one.
they
But
did.
it's just look, 14 assists is nothing to joke around with. And this is the engine right now. And when he turns it on, hey, choo choo, this team gets it going. And I love what I saw tonight.
Yeah, don't get mad at me, but uh, it looks like those 14 assists accounted for 33 points, Facci. So
Love it.
pretty good stuff right there. But yeah, the pep in the step, baby, on a Monday morning. I mean, I just, I'm just excited, man. I got a little extra pep in my step. I can't bring it like you bring it, but I want to do my best, but it's there,
Hey,
baby. It's there.
it's there. I've seen some tweets since we're recording this. It looks like, the pep is in multiple people's step
Let's go.
for tomorrow. And that's just what we love. We're all on this together. So let's get excited about these wins. Let's not get too down about these losses. And let's just know that the playoffs are right around the corner. Think about this. We're recording this on a Sunday night. Next Sunday, that ends the regular season. The playoffs are literally peaking right around the corner. And you can't count this team out. Did I think they were going to go on an Eastern Conference Finals run last year? No, I thought, hey, look, finally, we're in the playoffs. Let's see what happens. And all of a sudden, we were recording for like 2 more months. So we don't know when this is going to end. Let's just take it one game at a time and let's just keep the good times rolling.
Alrighty, Pacer Nation. Thank you all so much for tuning in to today's episode. Hope you guys enjoy your Monday. Hope there's a little bit extra pep in this step. And Facci, if you're open, the Pacers can extend this winning streak to 5 games as they take on the lowly Washington Wizards Tuesday night. Hit me with those 3 words.
Let's go, Pacers.